Well, let's get into the beauty that is the I Want to Love You to Your Dying Day. I keep saying the accidentally.
Though I want to love you till your dying day.
Yeah.
But yes, let us continue to that. Episode 3. And it starts with Mimi poking Sheena's sleeping face in their room and wakes her up. And Sheena narrates that she's learned a lot about Mimi in the past months. And Sheena is going to be late for class, so she hurries to get ready, but is still helping Mimi get ready too. And thinks that even though Mimi is a secret weapon, she's laid back and doesn't care about her appearance. It has a montage of Sheena narrating and Mimi just eating everything and doodling in class. And Mimi is bad at math, but gets perfect scores on history. And Fran always checks up on her, and Sheena thinks she's more like a mom than a teacher. But they get the battle alert in students. 1407, 1611, 1613, 1614, 1701, 1703, 1709, 1711, 1712, 1714, 1715, 1721, and 1724 are called. And Sheena doesn't know how to feel when Mimi goes off to battle with a smile on her face. Sheena is sitting alone with some onigiri, wondering why Mimi looks so happy when she leaves for battle. But then Ari and Seidon roll up, and they eat lunch together, and the girls are like, "You sure do like rice." And Sheena is like, "Yup, I always ate it as a kid." And they're like, "Is that why Mimi calls you onigiri girl?" And she's like, "I made some and gave them to her." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Mimi is still deployed, and Ari says not to worry, and they recall the mock battle from last episode and her restorative kiss. And Sheena is like, "Oh, did you guys watch?" So in terms of Mimi giving Sheena the restorative kiss.
Ah,
And
yes, okay. Yes,
yeah,
okay.
and they're like, "Yup, we sure did." Fran was supposed to do it, but Mimi did it instead. And Ari is like, "Sheena, do you hate Mimi?" And she's like, "What?" But she recalls seeing Mimi for the first time, covered in blood and all happy, even though she killed a bunch of people, and doesn't understand her, and that's why she didn't want to be around her. But Mimi said she doesn't like getting hurt, and maybe she's just like us. Ari and Seidon say that Mimi is immortal, and she can just keep fighting like the weapon she is. At least, that's what people say. Some other girls run by and say that 12 people made it back, and Ari is like, "Oh, so 2 didn't make it back, which means they'll have prayer time tomorrow again." The girls part ways, and Ari and Seidon talk about Sheena and how Sheena is changing now that she's with Mimi. And Seidon is like, "Well, that's cool." And then their hands make out.
Okay. They just hold hands.
No, their hands make out.
You didn't make it, Greg, you didn't make it sound so vulgar.
No, well, that's what their hands always do. I think every
You've never
episode.
held hands?
Well, when you're doing this, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know, Seiron." They're like, "Oh, Ari, don't worry. I'll always be with you." And they're like,
Greg, do you never...
and then one hand takes the other hand
goodnight?
from the back. And then after that, the hands like switch positions. Then the other one goes from the back. Yeah, it was really weird. It was a weird scene.
What?
So it cuts to
What
Fran.
anime are you watching, Greg? What the fuck?
It cuts to Fran and some.
You remember? Hold on. Do you remember the meme Nani the fuck?
Yeah.
Like back in the day? You just brought that back in my fucking head.
No,
Greg.
I know. Well,
Nani the fuck are you talking about?
did I bring that memory back, or was it inserted and you just think you remember it?
It was inserted from here back into my fucking 20 years ago body. I was like, oh, a memory of the future.
From the past. But it cuts to Fran and some dude with a bloody bag, and he's like, "Yeah, man, took a while to gather up all the pieces." And he drops the bloody sack, and Fran opens it to a mangled Mimi. And Fran is like, "Man, heal yourself, bitch ass." And Mimi regenerates herself, and Fran is like, "Ugh, that's pretty fucking gross."
It never gets easier.
Yeah.
Just smoking that cigarette. She's like smoking a clove, too.
Yeah.
God.
But Fran is like, "You got to be more careful. And Mimi was like, I wanted to get home quick. And then it has a shot of a cage in the foreground and Mimi in the background. So it looks like she's in the cage.
Nice work. Nice work.
I assumed you were going to take a screenshot of it.
I didn't actually.
Okay, so I'm glad I put it in the
later.
notes.
Yes, I did. I was going to say something about it, but they say late, or they show later when she's with Sheena and they're right in front of the window. Sheena's in front of the window and Mimi's on the left side in front of the wall almost. Like they're both looking out the window, but you can kind of see like Sheena through the imagery of this episode that Mimi is becoming the uncaged bird. And obviously, like, Mimi's some fucking sort of experiment, as we're gonna figure out. Like, this girl is literally a war machine and meant to win this war that they're
definitely
involved
next
with.
episode you'll get way more information on that. And you can kind of see the cage in this screenshot. Actually, it's over there, like kind of in the middle next to those plants on the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, I mean, this is with kind of future knowledge, right? I don't think she's like a uncaged bird. It definitely is more symbolism of like how Mimi is trapped. And I'm not going to say too much more because you'll see it in next episode.
We'll see you in the next episode.
But it cuts to Sheena making the beds, and she's like, oh no, what if Mimi was one of the two that didn't return? And she's like, no thinking like that. She'll probably be hungry when she gets back. And Sheena finds herself where she first met Mimi, and she has some onigiri, and she has an internal struggle about being scared of Mimi and apologizing. But Mimi rolls up, and Sheena is excited, and Mimi is like, you acting way nicer than normal. And Sheena apologizes for being so cold and thanks her for fixing her arm, and they share some onigiri and bond over liking rice. Sheena asks where she was before she transferred to their class, and Mimi says she was underground in a dark place all by herself. And Sheena is like, you wants to be my friend? And Mimi is like, hell yeah, you're my first friend. And Fran is waiting in the wings, smiling. It's the next day and they have the day off, and Sheena talks about what friends do, and they'll tell each other secrets and stuff and tell each other when they're dirty as fuck, and they'll spend the day off cleaning. They go to take the sheets to the laundry, and Mimi is like, what's that? And then more montage of cleaning, and Ari and Sadon come to help, and they have a nice meal, and now the room is all sparkly clean. Fran rolls in and is like, Mimi, time for battle. And then she tells Sheena that Mimi can't die. Mimi and Fran are walking, and Mimi is like, I don't want a war anymore. And Fran is like, well, the faster you kill, the faster you come home. And she says she hasn't told anyone about her secret yet. But it cuts to Sheena in the library looking at Mimi's doodles, and there's a doodle of Sheena, and Ari and Sadon roll up and are like, Mimi go to war? And she's like, yup. But don't worry, Fran said she can't die. And Sadon is like, what? And Ari is like, well, maybe it's a figure of speech. But Sadon is like, nah, there's rumors. But Sheena says that Mimi is a normal girl, and she was alone before all of this. But it cuts to Sheena waiting for Mimi again in her room, and Mimi comes back and she's like, were you waiting for little old me? It's already past bedtime. And she's like, yup, I thought you would be lonely if the room was dark, and I put new sheets on your bed.
She does take her shoes off before she gets into the room. And I don't think she was doing that before, because she didn't really give a shit about the mess she was creating.
Yeah, they spent all that time cleaning. You got to keep it clean.
And so Mimi's probably like, oh, I need to not get blood everywhere. That'd be a little hard to get out. So
yeah, I mean, I think this is, well, I'll say it at the end. But Sheena notices some blood on her knee and on her boots. And Mimi is like, friends tell secrets, right? And Sheena is like, yup, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And Mimi said she'll tell her a secret tomorrow. Her secret. The next day, Mimi is going to tell Sheena her secret, but Ari and Sadon are like, hey, you guys want to get lunch? And Mimi is like, no, secrets only. And then they go outside and sit on a bench. And Sheena thinks that she's Mimi's first friend, so she must think she's special. And Mimi is like, there's no one around, so I'll tell you my super secret because we're friends. And Sheena is like, oh? Is it that big of a secret? And Mimi is like, yup, don't tell anyone. And Mimi is like, you can save 10% off of Gamer Subs by using promo code
That's
DJ.
what I'm talking about, Greg. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
In my head, I was like, yes. Greg's gonna do it. I know he's gonna do it.
Yeah, well, I'm losing my touch apparently. If you can pick up
that
on
was
it.
so wonderful. I hoped, and that's why I got so excited. I'm sorry, I
Oh,
yelled really
okay.
loud.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Gamer
But no,
Subs.
like Mimi said, her secret was promo code DJ Montague, which she used at gamersubs.gg, where she saved 10% off of her order of limited edition flavors like Onigiri After Midnight. And you too can go to gamersubs.gg and get yourself 10% off of that flavor and many other flavors and clothes and snacks over at gamersubs.gg.
Nice, Greg. That was beautiful. That was everything I've ever wanted.
No.
No, keep it going.
No.
That's why I fist pumped.
But no,
Anyways, all right.
Mimi didn't whisper DJ Montague for 10% off of Gamer Subs to Sheena. Mimi said the reason that she can't die is because she is already dead. And Sheena is like, what?
It's crazy.
And then
wow.
that is how episode 3 ends. And then I have a note here that says, I think this is setting up to just try and destroy us all at the end. All these nice scenes, these comfy sheets, eating food, and everyone is probably going to die, especially Ari and Sadon. And now that we know Mimi is some undead soldier, now maybe the girl from the beginning is going to come back too. And maybe that's why.
I don't think so. Or maybe she's going to come back on the other side.
I already know the answer to this, actually, all of this, but then I was like,
cool,
yeah, maybe the girl from the beginning is going to come back, and maybe that's why the school is collecting bodies after a battle so they can experiment.
Very possible, but also, yeah, no, this show's pretty good so far.
I like it so far. I like this episode. I like next episode. I think the direction that they're going is really good, and yeah, I do think they are setting up to literally just tear our hearts out of our chests.
Our fucking
And I agree with you what you said last episode, that I want to love you till your dying day. It's not about Sheena, it's about Mimi, because I too now think that Sheena's probably going to die. Ari and Sadon are probably going to die. Everyone's going to die except Mimi.
I agree. She's going to be like the character. Oh, I made it to the end. What for?
Yeah, and I think you know what? No, I'm not going to say it. We'll wait till next episode and then I'll say it.
Okay.